working with the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. I'll be your MC come program coordinator, facilitator for the rest of the workshop, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. I know all of you must be quite tired but after the long journey from Chitwan. So we won't take up too much of your time. We'll just do a little bit of work today and then we can start the field activities tomorrow. As you know, all of you are here for the youth workshop on climate change and disaster management in Nepal. And I don't think I need to tell any of you, Nepal is at the front lines of climate change. But it's actually not just Nepal. Climate change is an important issue globally. I grew up in Assam in India, and earthquakes and floods are a part of daily life there. I now live in Singapore, and in the last few days, the last few weeks, almost every day in the papers we've had some discussion of climate change, extreme heat, excess rainfall. So it's an issue that concerns both high income, low income, the whole world really. And in fact in Singapore it's become such an issue that the government has designated 2026 the year of climate adaptation, with their energy and passion to change the world. So without sort of speaking too much, I'm going to hand over to Jonas Nitschke, who is our Deputy Director of the Regional Program Political Dialogue Asia, Konrad Adenauer Foundation in Singapore. Jonas is actually very well placed. He joined us in Singapore 2 years ago, I think, or 1 year ago. Last year. Yeah.
So pretty, very happy to also work with you all in the next couple of days. Just to give a quick remarks and introduction also from my side. So my name is Jonas. I work for our program in Singapore for the Konrad Adenauer Foundation, and before that I was for 3 years working on climate change and youth engagement issues in Brussels for our office there. And we're very happy to organize this workshop together with National College in Kathmandu, especially because for us it's also one of the key issues that we have these days. We're in Singapore not only doing political work on youth engagement with our partners in India, and also with regard to Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So that's also why we think this is a very crucial event to do with you in the next days, and especially that's why we want to also make it as engaging and useful for you as possible. Therefore, I'm also very happy to do the work together with the National College. And for us, it's basically also a very interesting activity to work with the National College in terms of our scholarship holders and really see and hear your ideas also on how to better work together. So we have in total 6 climate programs. One was also in Lima and Montevideo. So therefore, while we're now doing all of our activities from Singapore, before that we did that from Hong Kong. And for us it's also really interesting and important to understand your perspective as young people in the most affected regions, especially when it comes, for example, to how Germany and Europe should do more, what they can do more, and what you think would be suitable solutions also for these problems that you see directly here on the ground. So therefore we wanted to also offer you the opportunity together with our partners to really go into the depth of climate change here at a very wonderful place. We already had some activities last week. So it's a very interesting place here in Chitwan, especially with the national park here, bringing your ideas forward. Really work with us together on this, and we're also there during the meals at the session if you have any questions, if you have any urgent issues that you want to discuss with us in more detail. And we're very happy also to have the chance to spend really some time also in the National Park tomorrow. And with that, I want to wish you all already a lot of fun, a lot of exciting activities here together with all of us, and really looking forward to spend the time with you. And with that, I want to invite and hand over to our partners at National College, Mr. Ukesh Buju, for his opening remarks from their side as well.
Evening. And I have been surprised that why we have to choose Chitwan in the first week of May, which is supposed to be so hot here. But thanks God, thanks Mega, who brought rain here. And it's so cool and nice. And today we are here to the first day of the workshop. It is going to be the 6th day. Actually, we have already started a very preliminary sharing information in the college last Wednesday with the rivers. and how can we deal with climate change. So that is second objective. Please be careful. We have to understand how people have been living here for the last several centuries or for the last several decades, so that we can understand how they have been coping with the issues of climate change. And thirdly, we have to take some practical action so that the local people will also get some good support, and also we will also be contributing to the society. After all our objectives as a student, as a teacher, as a researcher, or as an organization, whether it is caste, whether it is national college, our objective should be to improve the livelihood of the people. Whatever we do, from whatever position, we have to improve. Our responsibility is to improve the livelihood of the people, betterment of the people. That is why we have to take some practical action. In Gorkha earthquake, that has actually uplifted some parts of the Kathmandu Valley and some parts of the other areas of the country. So that is one of the experiences that we can verify how it is rising. And I have been informed that one of you is also from Dolpo, which is beyond the Himalaya. And that is the area where you can see how the land was under the sea called the Tethys Sea. You can see the sedimentary rocks there. And that is how we know that it is part of the very, very ancient part of the Mediterranean Sea. What is today, it is connected with that, and it was separated. And that has separated the main Asian land to the Indian subcontinent. It's still rising, and this country is also in the crossroads of the ecological systems. There are 6 major floristic zones from African to West Asian to Sino-Japanese to Southeast Asian, Malaysian to Indian floristic regions, and also 2 major zoological regions, Palearctic and also Indo-Malayan. And these all, I think you have gone through in your courses in the first semester, I hope so. That is why it is so important. We are in the biodiversity hotspots that has been identified by several organizations, including IUCN and World Wildlife Fund, UNEP, and others. And now, this area, this particular Himalayan ecosystem is also what we call the water towers of Asia, and it supports more than 1 billion people in China and in India, Nepal, Bangladesh. That is why climate change is a very, very sensitive issue, very, very important issue. We have to understand and we have to take action for that. They are very much renowned in their field, and this is not available to everybody, and you are very, very lucky in that sense. And finally, please try to get the take-home message from the workshop at the end. When you reach home, with your parents, with your brothers and sisters, with your neighbors, tell them what you have learned from Chitwan in climate change. And that will make some significance. And based on your performance in the workshop, and based on the outputs you have produced from the workshop, it will decide whether similar workshops and programs will continue or not. It is in your hand. All the best. Thank you very much. Now I will invite our colleagues, Mr. Indesh Sharma, for his scientific presentation.
The workshop is happening for the first time, this kind of workshop. We have held many workshops in Kathmandu in National College. And another unique thing about this is we are integrating the subject environment and sustainable development, which is a new subject for first year students. So this was the cabinet meeting that happened, and the Maldivian ministers are there. Any guesses why they had this? Yeah, to raise awareness about, and the issues that they are facing is inundation. because the sea level is rising and most of the Maldives is pretty low. Even their international airport is not very, at very low elevation. So it usually gets inundated. Even the runway has got inundated so many times. So this was to raise awareness. Climate, when it is shorter, it's called weather. And there's a global climate change that's happening, and that is with regards temperature, precipitation, storm frequency, and the fluctuation that is happening. Global warming and climate change are not the same, obviously. They are the cause and the effect. First is the sun, the second is the atmosphere, third are the oceans, and the fourth is the earth itself, how it rotates, how it is placed in its axis, Probably might be, that thing might be new to you. So these are the four factors: sun, atmosphere, ocean, and the earth's spin. Sun radiation reaches the earth. Before it reaches, it has to pass through various layers of the atmosphere. The lowest layer is the troposphere. Above that is the stratosphere. All the clouds that are there, that is the troposphere area. Alright? So some of it gets reflected, some gets absorbed by the clouds, some penetrate, gets reflected again, some are absorbed by the land. 4-5 different layers. The one that is where we are, that's called the troposphere. So that is what gets a lot of these warming effect. The main reasons of global greenhouse gases, global warming is greenhouse gases, and these are some of the greenhouse gases. The chief one is carbon dioxide, but then there is methane also, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides. So these are very important agents that are causing greenhouse gases, but obviously the primary one is carbon dioxide. The important thing to understand in this is the abundance and the potency of the greenhouse gases. So carbon dioxide is not a very potent greenhouse gas, but it is very abundant. Unlike sulfur dioxide or nitrous oxide or methane, which are not very abundant but are very potent greenhouse gases. Oceans are getting warmer, there's high rate of evaporation, and thereby a lot of moisture content in the atmosphere, and that is also causing greenhouse effect. So I'm just giving you the potency there. Methane is actually 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. But still, carbon dioxide is the primary gas, primary concern. Gas, when we compare it with nitrogen and oxygen, nitrogen is obviously the most abundant. But comparing among the greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide is very abundant. And obviously, the emission that is happening is because we are burning the fossil fuel. And the fossil fuel is what is causing this, the deposition, partial decay, and the compression of organic matter, from time immemorial. And when we burn them, then it releases carbon dioxide. It's not very easy to find out what happened like 100,000 years back or millennium back, but there are ways of doing it. We are not covering that today. But there are ways of calculating. Again, on another indicator, the anthropogenic, human-induced fluxes. As you can see, in land it is pretty much like compensated. In oceans also, it's pretty much okay. But in the atmosphere, you can clearly see the red arrows are thicker and the values are higher. So we also call methane natural gas, especially in agriculture, livestock management. A lot of methane is generated. And then there's nitrous oxides, ozone is there, and CFCs are chlorofluorocarbons, and then water vapor. So very important agent is water vapor also. Feedback loop that we studied. There's a positive feedback and there's a negative feedback. Natural cycles are mostly governed by negative feedbacks. So don't be misled by the word. The positive feedbacks are actually linear. The negative feedback are cyclical. Alright? So that's how the continuity is maintained in different cycles that we studied. The nitrogen cycle or the phosphorus cycle or carbon cycle. So we have had 5 mass extinctions so far. So this is the 6th one, some say. And climate change can be a reason for the 6th mass extinction. And because we are the dominating species, usually the top species gets extinct. Another important factor are the aerosols. Those aerosols, we who live in Kathmandu know about aerosols. We know PM, particulate matter, PM10, right? Everybody's heard about PM10 and PM2.5. North Pole and South Pole also. Even in the 3rd pole, which is the Himalayas. Another aerosol can be sulfate. So sulfate is present in fossil fuel. So when we burn fossil fuel, we not only get the oxides of carbon, which are dioxide and monoxide, we also get sulfur dioxides and nitrogen dioxide. So these are sulfate aerosols that gets emitted. So this is again about the energy transfer that takes place. So these are the factors. I'll read it out probably. Most of you are not seeing it properly. So these 3 are doing is they are decreasing the warming effect. In fact, they are cooling it. But you can clearly see who's winning, right? Okay, another important reason why warming can take place is a very unique feature of Earth, which is called the Milankovitch cycles. So you can see in these 3 figures, Earth has an axis, but it wobbles on its axis. It's not a very stationary thing. All right, so there's a wobble there, and then the variation in tilt. Earth is not like straightforward, there is a tilt, and because of that also, and the tilt also gets changed. So there's a fluctuation in the tilt angle also. Some say the current climate change is because of the sun and the different radiations that it is emitting. Another is the ocean absorption. So oceans, the Earth's ocean actually hold 50 times more carbon than the atmosphere. So the carbon dioxide that is present in the atmosphere is 50 times less than the oceans. Now the bad thing that is happening is if the ocean gets warmed, it will stop absorbing carbon dioxide. Warmer the ocean gets, it will release more carbon dioxide, thereby making the atmosphere a sink. It was usually the other way around. It was the oceans and the lithosphere that was the sink. Connected. The Indian Ocean is obviously the primary weather source for Nepal, but then the Indian Ocean is connected with the Pacific Ocean. And in the Pacifics, we have a phenomena called the El Nino Southern Oscillation. So this is, we hardly look, to that area. This is the southern Pacific Ocean between eastern Australia and western South Africa. So this is a big chunk of Pacific Ocean, hardly there any land there, all right? So that is very important, and anything there affects the monsoon. So this year, people are, a little worried about the El Nino happening, and thereby affecting the southeastern monsoon. These 3 combine gives rise to disaster risk. Disaster then affects the development. All right? Development means emission of greenhouse gases. It can be two, natural and anthropogenic. This then enforces this. So, for disaster management, the first thing is to understand the weather and the climate, assess the vulnerability, and try to reduce it so that the exposure is not there. Of degree rise in temperature, you can see here 1.4 degrees Celsius by 2030. So 1.4, this is not a high or a low, this is on average. That gives rise to disasters. So if we can control this and assess this, and it is difficult to control this, but it is very possible to assess and control the vulnerability part. Thereby we can reduce the disaster risk. Session with you guys. If you have any question, I think we do have time for a couple of. There's more warming. More warming means more evaporation. More evaporation means again more vapor. All right. So this is more like linear, one way. All right. So this is the negative loop. More water vapor means more clouds. Clouds also act as shades, thereby cooling. So if there's shade, then the earth will cool. This is kind of a negative feedback. So negative feedbacks are very natural and they kind of keep the system running. But if there's a positive feedback, it becomes more linear. If there's a rise in deer population, there will be a corresponding rise in lion or tiger population. And if there is a rise in tiger population, then the deer population will automatically decline. And if the deer population declines, then the tiger population will also decline. That keeps the system going. That is also called the balance of nature. So this is more negative feedback loop. Warmer oceans, chemical compositions and then different circulations that happen. So beyond the syllabus. These are hazards. Vulnerabilities are more, socio-economic characteristics. So disaster is there's a human angle to disaster. All right? So this is the human part, the vulnerability part. So the hazard, it's very difficult to stop hazard. So right now what the government is doing with regards removing those people who are living in the squatter areas next to rivers, mitigate and prepare ourselves so that there is less disaster that happens. The human life is very important. So if we evacuate those places and not make them residential places, then we can reduce the human loss or the property loss. So that is part of the mitigation that is happening.
So all of you get your phones out. There's coming like a little barcode basically here on the front that you type in, and then you can choose a funny name or something. And basically then you see your name there. Let's see, waiting for participants. There you see the code. You can also scan it with your QR code. For the ones in the back, you can also come to the front. For how fast you answer, but also if you have the right answer. And then basically we will go through the questions. And for the top 3, we have a little present. So it's also for you to be fast and correct in your answer. And we will go through it. Yeah, let's see. It's probably like go to kahoot.it and then just type in the code. And the code is 4489405. You all in? For you all guys work Did it work out? Perfect. Looks good. Changes in global temperature and climate patterns or seasonal variability caused by monsoon cycles. I think you have around carbon monoxide or, yeah, you spell that, chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. I hoped to see. Okay, number 5. Talking a bit about international climate treaties. Paris Agreement is based on, we have mandatory equal emission cuts, country-specific commitments, or the global carbon ban. Oh, that goes fast.
Yeah.
Answers 9, 8, 5. All done. Energy production, the education sector, or banking. And by the way, for you, the last questions you get a little bit more points, so the stakes are higher. So if you're doing good now, then or false. Seven seconds left. Almost all correct. We're making progress. Number 8, specific question more towards the area that we're here in. Why are forests around areas like Chitwan important in the global climate system? And the answers. Forests only regulate local wildlife populations, forests act as carbon sinks and influence regional climate systems, or forests mainly increase atmospheric oxygen levels affecting warming. That's very good. We're already, I have a feeling I know who's the one that always wrong. Oh, very, very fast and very correct, everyone. So that's also very good. Number 11, true or false statements. Even if global emissions stopped today, global temperatures would immediately stop increasing. Is this correct or false? False. 15-5, okay. Potential for improvement. Number 12, climate justice emphasizes. And there we are with equal emissions by all countries, ignoring historical emissions, or fair distribution of climate responsibilities and impacts. 10 more seconds left, 19 have answered. Last 2, there we go. That's a good number. Only adjusting systems to reduce climate impacts or ignoring environmental changes. Almost all correct. Good. Then we should now see, check the podium. Number 3, with 14 out of 15. Echia. Please come to the front. We're just going to have a little present for that.
We're going to actually stop this program now. We're going to serve dinner at 7 o'clock where we will continue. I hope you all have listened to Indreshji's message. You all have watched The Fragile Mountain. And you will have, I know, it's an old documentary. I think it will betray our age. Packed day tomorrow. So 6 o'clock will be breakfast, will be open. And 6:30 sharp, the jeeps will be here for the safari. So you need to be there. Everybody has to be there at 6:30. The will be leading the discussion. So we'll see you at dinner.